Hello. Okay. The next chapter is titled Mrs.Twit, which I know that's backwards and I keep showing you, but I don't know what else to do. So, Mrs.Twit, it says MRS dot. I know you can't see it, but MRS dot means that she's married and she's Mrs. Twit. And so from this, I would think that she is married to Mr. Twit. Let's look at some of the pictures through the chapter as a way of previewing it for us. Mrs. Twit. There's her picture. She is just as hideously drawn as her husband. Nope. Now, for some reason, they show going from here. Oh, no. I tried to redo it. See, it shows a young lady going all the way to Mrs. Twit. I don't know what that's about. But I can see that they look very similar. And I can see that Mrs. Twit does not look much like that first lady. Then it shows a lady who's obviously not Mrs. Twit, but who looks very happy. And that's it for the pictures on that one. Let's read it. Mrs. Twit was no better than her husband. She did not, of course, have a hairy face. It was a pity that she didn't, because that, at any rate, would have hidden some of her fearful ugliness. That's an awful thing for the author to say, that if she had a big hairy face, at least you couldn't see how ugly she was, which is what he meant by that. Take a look at her. And so we take a look again. There she is. Have you ever seen a woman with an uglier face than that? I doubt it. But the funny thing is that Mrs. Twit wasn't born ugly. She had quite a nice face when she was young. The ugliness had grown upon her year by year as she got older. Why would that happen? I'll tell you why. If a person has ugly thoughts as it begins to show on the face, and when that person has ugly thoughts every day, every week, every year, the face gets uglier. And uglier until it gets so ugly that you can hardly bear to look at it. So it's saying that Mrs. Twit has ugly thoughts. And Mrs. Twit's ugly thoughts have made her ugly on the outside. That's what that progression was about. Mrs. Twit, before her ugly thoughts came together, overtook her mind, and all the way to where it has. So the ugliness came from her mind and showed on the outside. Which I'm not sure. If you've ever met a really ugly person, not like physically ugly, but an ugly on the inside person, somebody who's not nice, somebody who does not do what they're supposed to do, they might not actually be ugly on the outside, but you as a person, when you have to deal with them, sometimes feel like they may be ugly on the outside. It's an idea of perception. It's a way of how we see things. And she is not a nice person, and so she is seen as ugly. Okay, let's keep moving. A person who has good thoughts cannot ever be ugly. You can have a wonky nose and a crooked mouth and a double chin and stick out teeth, but if you have good thoughts, they will shine out of your face like sunbeams and you will always look lovely. So let's look at this person. It says that she has a wonky nose and a crooked smile, a crooked mouth and a double chin and stick out teeth. She has all of those things, but she never really seems that ugly because she's a good person. It's all about perception. Nothing good shone out of Mrs. Twit's face. In her right hand, she carried a walking stick. Now, a walking stick is like a cane. Or if you've ever gone on a hike and you found a big stick to carry with you to help you push on the ground as you push forward, it's like a cane or a stick. And she has one. She used to tell people that this is because she had warts growing on the sole or the bottom of her left foot, and walking was painful. But the real reason she carried the stick was so that she could hit things with it, like dogs and cats and small children. And there was the glass eye, Mrs. Twit, And then there was the glass eye. So a glass eye is, okay, if somebody gets an infection in their eye and they don't get it taken care of, or if an accident happens, then somebody can lose their eye and the doctor has to remove their eye. And they no longer have an eye in this socket or this socket. And so they could make a glass eye that looks exactly like a real eye, except it's not as alive. You see how my eyes can move? Okay. The glass eye would not move along with it. So like this eye would move, but this eye would be stationary if it was glass. And then there was the glass eye. Mrs. Twit had a glass eye, and that was always looking the other way. Hang on. Okay. And then there was the glass eye. Mrs. Twit had a glass eye that was always looking the other way. So they're saying that one eye would be looking directly on, and the other eye would be looking over there somewhere. And so that ends that chapter of our introduction to Mrs. Twit.